Collusion.
It's
There's
soft.
collusion.
1,000% collusion. And it's amazing that owner.
It's time for game night, getting you ready for Sacramento Kings basketball.
He's got the bucket!
Game night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome into game night right here. Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh with you here. The high flyer en route will be here in just a little bit, I'm sure. Kings and Suns tonight. As Sacramento down in Phoenix trying to get a big win for a lot of reasons against the Suns. We'll break that all down. Of course, Sacramento coming in with the victory at home against the Knicks last time out on Thursday, as they held on to beat New York 122-127. With that win, Sacramento improving to a season-high 13 games above 500. They're 39-26 in the Western Conference. They are still in the number 2 seed. They are tied with the Grizzlies, but they do hold the tiebreaker against the Grizz. They have the better conference record, so they are technically the number 2 seed as we speak. And as we look at things, the Suns are 3 games back in the loss column, 2 games back in the win column, so they're 2.5 behind Sacramento. So that's why this is important, because the Suns, of course, picking up KD, who will not play tonight. Well, we know about the ankle injury. He's going to be out for a while. But the Suns certainly, they want to move up. They're in the 4 spot right now, and they feel like they can certainly do that. They also have beaten Sacramento the previous 2 times this year. So with a win here tonight, they would secure the season series against Sacramento, which, of course, could be important if these 2 teams were to tie at the end of the regular season. The Suns would own all the tiebreakers between the 2 teams. These 2 teams will match up again not too long from now in Sacramento, March 24th. The Suns will come calling on Golden One Center. We'll be with you until 5:30 tonight. If you want to join us, you certainly can. Give us a call, 1-800-920-1140. You can watch us on our YouTube at Sactown 1140. We'll be in the chat throughout the hour, especially during the breaks. We'll have some special conversation there. Kyle is running the chat room as we speak. He'll get things up and running there. So we look forward to talking to you until 5:30 Kings Live pregame coming your way. Then Jason Ross will be here for that. Tip tonight, 6 o'clock, G-Man with the call as always. But going back to Thursday night, again, the Kings, they got the win. And it was on national TV. And of course, everybody felt good about that. And Sacramento representing the nation well. The beam was lit not only above Golden One Center, but it was lit on the TNT studios, which was pretty cool to see Ernie and Shaq and Charles with the beam in the middle. I got a kick out of that. I'm sure a lot of other people did as well. But certainly there was a lot of alarming stats coming out of that game as well, because as we recall, the Knicks absolutely hammered the Kings on the glass. Kings were out-rebounded in that game, 58-42, and most notably, they were out-rebounded on the offensive glass 23-6. Yes, they gave up 23 offensive rebounds. Josh Hart, as Mike Brown described it, absolutely kicked the butts of the Kings on Thursday night. He had 8 offensive rebounds. I was working with the Knicks crew that night. The 8 offensive rebounds for Josh Hart was the most offensive rebounds by any guard in Knicks history. You think about that, the history of the New York Knicks, how far that goes back, how many great guards they've had. Well, Josh Hart set a record for the most offensive rebounds by a guard that night with 8. So certainly there were some alarming issues with the Kings on Thursday night. The most important thing, obviously, they won. And the Kings, that's what they've been doing all season long. They've been finding a way to win. And when you shoot over 50% from the field, you do a decent job at the free throw line. The Knicks were atrocious at the line. That was the thing that really held them back. Obviously, their 3-point shooting wasn't very good either. They were 13 of 50 from beyond the arc, but they were 20 of 31 from the line, 64%. So all these offensive rebounds, they were not converting in the second chance points, despite just dominating the glass for Sacramento. The Kings able to get that win. And certainly, getting wins right now, it doesn't matter how you get them. Bottom line is get the W. But again, Mike Brown certainly was unsatisfied with that win. He specifically challenged Domas and Fox to not only be better themselves and to play every possession, but to challenge all the teammates to get back and get some rebounds as well, because come playoff time, and that's really where it's about right now for the Kings and their mindset and everything that's going on with Coach Brown. It's about what they're going to be able to do in April. He knows that a game like that, the Kings win in March, but they do not win that game in April. So having said all that, the Kings certainly still in a great position. And one of the things I want to get into, because the Kings, again, we've been looking at staying at the 3 position for so long, and now all of a sudden they're in the 2 position. Well, when you look up at the Nuggets, it seemed like they were absolutely uncatchable, but the Nuggets have now lost 2 straight. They got blown out at home to Chicago. They went on the road last night. They had a double-digit lead against San Antonio, maybe the worst team in the league. They gave that up and lost that game. And for the first time all season long, Nikola Jokic, who had another triple-double, his 25th of the year. It's the first time in a triple-double role that Jokic had a triple-double and the team lost. So are the Nuggets cracking it all? If you look at the Western Conference standings, the Nuggets are 46-21. They're only 5 games up in the loss column of Sacramento. I know there's not a lot of games left. The Nuggets have 15 left to go. The Kings have 17. But should we be looking up, or we should be looking down as the Kings are ready to play the Suns? And with that, I will turn it over to the High Flyer. That's the question we'll open up with you tonight. What do you think?
I would never say for the basketball team to look down. No way. You don't look down. You always look up towards the sky. The sky is the limit. But seeing that you are 5 games behind Denver, that can be a goal that they can obtain. But you always want to push and try to be the best as you possibly can.
No doubt. I think it's obtainable. I mean, we'll see what the Nuggets do. Obviously, Denver controls their own destiny, but the Kings, to a certain extent, do as well. And tonight's obviously a huge game for Phoenix. We'll break down tonight's game, but just go back to Thursday night. You broke it down with Jason after the game, but what was your takeaway from Thursday night? Kings win. We always say winning's all that matters, but certainly it left a bad taste, all those New York Knicks offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and Scott, here's the thing. At the end of the day, let's not act like that hasn't been a problem all year long for the Sacramento Kings. Yeah. This is a problem that's just not just rearing its head right now.
Right.
It's been something that's been happening all year long. But I would say, I'm trying to say the beauty of the situation, if you want to look at it that way, is that their offense, man, is just clicking at such a high, powerful rate that they can get away with it.
Yep.
And what Mike Brown is trying to get over to each and every last one of these guys on this roster is that, in regular season, you'll be able to get away with that. Mm-hmm. But in the playoffs, it's going to be a whole different ball game. You're not going to be able to give up 4, 5 chances at a shot, and a team don't burn you in that situation. So, he understands the grand picture. The Kings right now are looking at the big picture. The big picture is trying to make the playoffs. He's looking at a grand picture of, okay, when we get there, what is it going to take for us to make some noise once we get there?
No doubt. That's what he's focused in on. I think the question is, since you've said this has been the Kings' problem all season long, we talked about it at the trade deadline. Would the Kings make a move to get Mason Plumlee? You and I talked about Jakob Poeltl. We were interested in Jared Vanderbilt, who's now with the Lakers and playing well there. Since they didn't make a move, is this team capable of doing what Mike Brown is asking them to do, especially as we move towards the playoffs?
Well, here's what's going to have to happen, Scott. I think they can do a better job at it. Can they fix that problem? Mm-hmm. I don't think so, because they're small.
Yep.
Whenever Sabonis goes out the game, he's the only 7-footer we have on the floor. Next thing you know, the next guy is at 6'8", and that's Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
So when you talk about rebounding the basketball, you're going to be at a deficit. So now what you have to do to make up for that, or at least try to combat that a little bit, you have to gain rebound. And now you're bringing your guards into the game. Okay. De'Aaron Fox, you have to rebound a little bit more. All right. Kevin Huerter, you got to rebound a little bit more. You're looking at the rookie, Trey Lyles, Harrison Barnes, all of these guys, they have to rebound a little bit better. That's the only way they're going to be able to just put a dent And what they're talking about is this big deficit of rebounding.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, Fox had 3 rebounds. Herter had 2 rebounds.
That's not going to
Mitchell
get
off the bench, 1 rebound.
Not going to get it.
Yeah, you need more collective effort, no doubt about it. But again, it's not a one-off. It's not even a trend. It's just who the Kings are.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Understand it, Scott, that the Sacramento Kings play their best basketball when they are small. Getting up and down, being able to stretch the floor, being able to get to the basket, knock some things down. And honestly, love what Sabonis is doing for this basketball team. He is a huge part of the the push to make this team better. But I'll tell you what, their most potent offensive lineup is when Sabonis is not in there and they put Trey Lyles at that 5.
Yeah, they're pretty good. There's no doubt.
Hey, when they put Trey Lyles at that 5, that really stretches the floor because he can knock down that shot.
Yeah, they spread out that offense.
And now it's you have to guard your man one-on-one, and the Kings have a bunch of guys one-on-one that can get to the basket and score.
Totally agree, but then there is no rebounding on the floor
but no. I understand that, but I'm just saying their most potent offensive lineup is when Trey Lyles is in there.
Yeah, I can't disagree with what you're saying. Obviously, when Sabonis is out there, I mean, the man's averaging a double-double.
Believe me, I'm not saying the team is better without Sabonis.
Yes.
No way, no how.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Trey Lyles scores the basketball at a higher rate than what Sabonis does.
Certainly from the outside. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
From the outside.
Yes, I'm with you on that. And speaking of Sabonis, his 53rd double-double, again, is 1 shy of the team record. Sam Lacey, 54 is the record. He's got a great chance of tying that tonight. He also had his 9th triple-double of the season. Obviously, a great night on Thursday for Domas. All right, we'll take the break. Game night underway. When we'll come back, we'll talk about the Suns a little bit. KD, he was supposed to make his home debut on Wednesday. Obviously, did not make it, will not play tonight. We'll talk about the impact of that when we come back. Game night, as always, brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. More of Game night right here. Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty, we are clear on YouTube. You got me, Henry?
We got you, buddy.
Excellent. So we were talking about tonight's game a bit, and yesterday I was filling in on the morning show, and I called my shot on the 3 in the key, and I said that 3 different Kings would score 25 points in tonight's game, and we're thinking that Malik Monk is due for a big game tonight. He had a great, I think it was 3rd quarter against the Knicks, and with the Suns being down defensively, we think tonight could be a big Malik Monk night.
Well, Monk was awesome on Thursday night. He had 19, but to get 3 guys with 25 points tonight, I mean, I don't know. That's asking a lot, High Flyer.
Kind of, sort of. Right now the Kings are in a groove, Scott. They're playing some of their best ball offensively. Kevin Herter is back in the mix. He's back shooting the basketball at a high clip. And when you start knocking down 3-pointers the way that he can knock down 3-pointers, 25 points isn't a high standard. You can get there pretty quickly. Yep. Same thing with Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray is shooting the basketball very well. If he get into a groove, 25 isn't a far stretch from him either. And we're just throwing out 25 and 25 for Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Yeah,
no doubt. Sabonis had 24, Fox had 23, and Monk had 19. Against the Knicks. The Suns, I don't know if I'd say they're as good a defensive team as New York. So
they've really hurt missing Bridges and Johnson, especially defensively.
No question. And that's what I want to get into when we come back. We're here right now, but when we go back on air, the radio side is with Durant gone. I mean, Bridges has now had 6 30-point games for the Nets.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, and this isn't our problem, but it's theirs. Well, they get to see now what those 2 players or those players that they gave up for KD.
Yeah.
Where the team will be missing them because now KD can't play, and the guys that they sent away aren't at their disposal on that roster. Let's see what Phoenix looks like.
Yeah, what's the depth going to be here for the next few weeks? Now, obviously, Devin Booker's playing as good as he ever has.
Oh, absolutely. And Devin Booker, I mean, we saw it in the finals last year. He can go for 25 in a game just like it's nothing, and sometimes he disappears. So, I mean, I assume it's going to be a bigger scoring night because we know the Kings' defensive struggles. But
well, they've had no answer for Devin Booker.
No,
He's
absolutely.
averaged 38 against them in the first 2 games.
I mean, who has
nobody does. Nobody does.
For Devin Booker, exactly.
Nobody.
No, Devin Booker has to shoot himself out of a game, like when they put Drew Holiday on him in the finals.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. Drew Holiday is a whole different monster.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday can D. All right. It ain't like he just had off night. Drew Holiday can D up.
Yeah, it totally changed that final series.
I bet.
Absolutely. And the Bucks basically said, Giannis goes supernova on offense, and we just need Drew Holiday. You guard Booker, and we'll be okay.
Hey, so give that kid his due. I mean, it ain't like Book just had off night because he was just missing himself. Well, Drew Holiday could guard.
Coming back.
Edwards, maybe. All right,
5 seconds.
We'll get into that. Welcome back into game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Another gloomy weekend in Sacramento. Rain on and off, but the Kings red hot. They've won 7 of their last 8 now. Suns playing good ball too. They've won 4 straight. This is a good matchup tonight between the Kings and Phoenix. It does not have Kevin Durant, obviously, who tweaked that ankle in warmups on Wednesday night. He's going to be out at least 3 weeks. There's a lot of feeling out there that he could miss the rest of the regular season. So who knows all about that? We know the Suns are still one of the very best teams in the Western Conference, currently in the 4th spot. The Kings tied with the Grizz in the number 2 spot, 39-26. Phoenix has won the first 2 games of this series. So it's important for the Kings to get a win tonight for a lot of reasons. But what do you make of the Suns right now without KD, High Flyer?
I mean, look at the situation, Scott. How bad would it stink if you sold the house, okay, to get a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation type player? Great move on your part.
Yep.
And then he gets hurt.
Yep.
Where you can't utilize this dude. Now, if everything went well and KD was on the roster, being able to play at their disposal, it's one of the greatest moves probably in NBA history for the Phoenix Suns. You're trying to make a big splash, and you go get one of the best players and one of the best scorers the game have ever seen. Yes, great move, but he's hurt. And now you don't even have the players that was playing well that you sent away for that once-in-a-generational type player. You're taking a loss.
No doubt. And we talked about Mikal Bridges. I mean, he was great for Phoenix before the trade. He's been great for Brooklyn afterwards. He's had 6 30-point games for the Nets now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You are taking a loss. So if you're, in the Phoenix Suns organization, you're like, wow, we just gave away something for nothing. Now, in the long scheme, it's not nothing. Kevin Durant's going to be a beast once he does touch the floor. But for right now, while you're trying to make this push, you have to do it without him.
Yep. All right. So for the Suns, does it matter at all their playoff seed going into the playoffs here?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so, because let's say if they get the 7th seed and KD comes back, I mean, even if they got to come through the playoff, I mean the play-in.
Yep.
Once KD gets healthy, they're a different ball club. I don't care what you say by any stretch of the mean. When you get a guy like Kevin Durant back and you already have a monster and Devin Booker, right? You have a Robin to a Batman and Chris Paul, and let's not disrespect DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton has been playing good basketball.
Great basketball.
So now you got a big 5. You should be able to make some noise. It should be able to be a team that says, okay, we can go through anybody. Let's go.
Yeah, and the chances of them falling back into a play-in are probably small. They're 4 games up in the loss column of the Clippers, the Mavs, the Warriors. So they're still looking pretty good. Does it matter at all in terms of team chemistry with Kevin Durant, or is it just one of those things when Durant's back, they're going to be fine regardless?
Scott, I really held this guy's game so high that I think Kevin Durant can play with anybody. I don't think it's going to be a situation to where you're like, let's see if he's going to be able to incorporate. No. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Wherever he goes, he's going to bring that 25 and 8 with him. That's just the way he plays.
Yeah. it's pretty amazing the way things have shaked out for the Kings, and it just continues to here in terms of the health. And De'Aaron's missed some games. We understand that, but the Kings have been maybe one of the most healthy teams in the league without a doubt, and it just continues. So Thursday night, Brunson tried to go, couldn't go, didn't play the second half. Tonight, no KD for the Suns. Monday night, who knows about Giannis? He's not playing tonight against Golden State on Monday. It just seems like the way the schedule is shaking out for the Kings, they're seeing all these quality teams without some of their top players.
Well, let's say the Kings have been extraordinary lucky, big time. Yes, beat on some wood.
Yeah.
Because for one, they have been relatively healthy.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Fox missed a couple of games.
And Sabonis has played
big
through
deal.
an injury that would have sidelined people for a month.
Sabonis has played through. All right. They've pretty much had their whole roster at their disposal and playing good basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Don't slide them.
Yep.
Playing good basketball. But think about how many times we've ran up against teams that don't have their quote unquote full lineup for the Kings. And they have been able, and to their credit, they've been able to take advantage of that.
Yes.
And that's the reason why they're so much further ahead than most teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They have certainly made the most of it, and it's just been pretty incredible how the schedule is shaken out for Sacramento, because they are going into a very tough stretch right now. I mean, they're playing, you would say, probably the two teams tonight and Monday night who most people would say are going to be the favorites to get into the NBA Finals.
Right. I would ride with you on that. But once again, and let's say, okay, and Boston's coming in here pretty soon, too.
Boston's here on the 21st.
Yeah, Boston's coming in here, too. So, I know you was talking about Phoenix and Milwaukee, but we can't forget about Boston.
No.
So now you get a chance to catch Phoenix without a Kevin Durant. Great for the Sacramento Kings. All right. Now, if Giannis doesn't play for Milwaukee, great for the Sacramento Kings. And I don't even know what's going on in Boston right now, but I do know this. For over half of the season, you and I both were saying the Boston Celtics was the best team in the NBA.
No doubt. And obviously Jaylen Brown, he's been playing through it, but the facial fracture hasn't helped the situation. I think maybe they got tired a little bit too. I mean, they lost a double overtime game to New York. They just haven't been quite the same. I don't know if there's anything to worry about, but with the Celtics right now.
Well, they have had Orlando-itis.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'll buy that.
Orlando. And Scott, it is funny too, because Orlando is not a better team than Boston.
No.
But that just goes to show.
But Orlando's had their number.
That just goes to show that some teams will match up with you better than others. And I think Orlando just matches up with Boston great.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, power rankings, because we're kind of into that. Jason Anderson, our good friend over the B, did his latest power rankings. I'll get your thoughts on this. He's got the Bucks 1, Celtics 2, Nuggets 3, Sixers 4, Cavs 5, Kings 6. He's got the Suns down at 9. And again, it's based on where they're at right now, based on current rosters and all of that, not projecting outwards.
Okay, so what makes, let's say, Cleveland so much better than Sacramento?
Well, they're 5 versus 6. So I wouldn't say so much better.
But still, it's like, okay, if you're going to line it up, what makes Cleveland better than Sacramento?
And Jared Allen went out of that game last night, too, speaking of injuries. But they do have Donovan Mitchell, who has been playing like an MVP.
Okay, we have a De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, who's been playing
like an MVP.
He's the Jerry West Clutch Player of the Year, right?
Exactly. Right? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could switch those two, babe. That's why I'm asking you the question. What do you think about the power rankings?
Yeah, I really hate when people who rank and, everybody who looks at what's going on, what's supposed to be happening here, how do you evaluate this team against that team? Stop looking at big market versus small market, because that has nothing to do with it. Right now, why would he put Philly in front of Sacramento? Sacramento's record is a hell of a lot better than Philly's, but Philly has Joel Embiid.
Now, I have to correct you on that one, because the Sixers are 44-22.
Okay.
And Kings are 39-26.
Well, didn't see that one coming.
And Embiid just hit that game winner last night. Embiid is legitimately an MVP candidate, for sure.
That's true. That's true. But I still don't think, okay, let's look at it this way. Do you think Philly's coming out the East?
I think they've got a great shot of doing it. I think the Bucks are the best team in the East.
I still think so too. And I think the Bucks are the best. And I still think that Boston will probably be able to give Philly everything that they want.
Yeah. I agree with that also. And but again,
and then okay, and I'll ride with you. He might be right with that one. You put Philly over Sacramento, but I definitely wouldn't put Cleveland over Sacramento.
Okay. Fair enough. And that's why it's all just about talk, right? Because these rankings don't mean a lot right now.
For me, it means nothing until the end of the season.
Understood. All right. We'll take the break. When we come back, we're going to go around the league. We'll take a look. Watch out. Lakers are playing pretty good basketball right now. We'll talk about that a little bit to get you caught up on all the other games going on throughout the association. It is Game Night. It's brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you have a heart of service and you want to do good in our community and you have a real passion to try and help kids who need your help, Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great cause. There are so many kids ages 7 to 18 who are being raised by single parents who could use a mentor, and maybe that is for you. Give them a call, 916-646-9300. Visit bbbs-sac.org to learn more. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Yo, Scooter.
Oh, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yep. Fire away.
Well, I will say you said that Phoenix and Milwaukee might be at the front there. I'm still so high on Denver, man. Everyone's sleeping on Denver.
I think if you polled every league general manager right now and said who the NBA Finals would be, you would get Phoenix and Milwaukee. I mean, those are the two favorites. Denver's had a great year. They haven't proven anything in the playoffs.
Oh, well, yes and no, but
they made it to a conference finals in the bubble.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means
fair.
Nothing.
I don't think it means nothing. They were giving the Lakers a run for their money. And anyways, I've put on the record. I think Denver's going to win the West, and they won't face an elimination game.
Fair enough. Now they've lost 2 straight, and they've lost to Chicago and San Antonio.
I am holding out my faith in that bad man, the Joker, and that team. In the chat, I did want to get to this because Neil in the chat and I were going back and forth about Terrence Davis.
Yes.
Because his offensive game has been down recently, and obviously Harrison Barnes has played every game, so that helps. Yes. But when it comes down to the playoff rotation, 8 players are set, and Terrence Davis is not one of those 8, so he might be on the chopping block for minutes in a couple of games.
Maybe. I mean, it's been interesting. Mike Brown has not really been consistent with minutes with anybody all season long. So is he going to start doing that as we get towards the end of the playoff rush or not? I'm not sure, Henry, but I think TD is going to get minutes.
I look at it like this. He can't be, just say, too janky with TD's minutes, because every time that Mike Brown has had to call on TD, he's answered the bell.
Absolutely. He's had some great games.
Yes, he's answered the bell. So when you have a player that's doing that for you, it would be asinine if you just, once you get to the playoffs, just say you're not playing anymore. Now, he might have to, just be very crafty at how you get him in the game. But you just can't sit that guy, and let's say you go on a run, then all of a sudden in that 6th game when one of your starters is not showing up, you call on him, he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
He is not going to be there, which we would really hope that he would. But if you haven't played him for 6 games straight in the playoffs, but that 6th game you need him, no, you would much rather be crafty. Find some minutes those 5 games, say, hey, TD, it's not much. We're going to get you in there. And if need be, bro, I'm going to have to come back to you.
I think that would mean he's the 9th guy in the rotation, because the only other person I could think of is Metu, who would get scrubbed for minutes.
He still would be the 9th guy in the rotation if he's playing Herculean. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. But what I'm saying is that 9th guy is still going to have to be able to get some run somewhere in the playoffs instead of just sitting the number 9 and playing your 8.
Yeah, to your point on the bench Thursday night, Lyles got 25 off the bench. Monk only had 20, 19 for Mitchell, 7 for Metu, 5 for Davis.
There you go. We're coming back in 15 seconds-ish, so I feel like that we'll leave it there. Neil in the chat, hope that helped some of your Terrence Davis thoughts.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer, Henry Turner. We'll take you until 5:30 tonight. Get you ready for Kings Live pregame. Kings and Suns. Third game of the year. Kings looking for their first win against Phoenix. It's a big one. The Kings, if they were to lose tonight, would lose the season series against Phoenix. And they have one more game here in the 24th. Phoenix, certainly, they want to go from 4 to at least 2. The Kings want to hang on to that 2. Maybe some hopes of possibly catching the Nuggets, who have lost a couple of games. Kings have won 8 of their last 10. Lots of things to shake out here as we look around the Western Conference. And one topic here, Henry, because obviously it's all about getting ready for the playoffs and how you're going to play in the playoffs right now. The 3 teams that everybody feels like you still have to watch out for when the playoffs come, regardless of what their seedings are. One of them's Phoenix, of course.
Right.
The other one's Golden State, who has lost 3 straight now. They're 7-26 on the road. Charles Barkley said they were done when he interviewed Draymond Green the other night. Draymond said, well, at least we have 4 more than you, buddy. So that was interesting. And then the Lakers, of course, the other team who is actually peaking right now. It's kind of hard to believe Lakers could be under the radar, but without LeBron playing, they've won 3 straight. They've won 7 of their last 10. AD is balling. They've played good ball since the trade deadline. They made some really good moves. And if LeBron were to come back, maybe they're a big time threat. So how do you assess that between Phoenix, Golden State, and the Lakers, regardless of where they finish? If they get in, they're a massive threat.
I'm kind of riding with Charles with the Golden State thing. I think the Golden State Warriors are on their last dance. I just don't think the chemistry is there with them, even though they've been able to manufacture it at times. Phoenix legitimately because, of KD's situation. Now, the Lakers situation, the Lakers saga.
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
You're playing great ball without LeBron James. The team is looking like it's making a turn.
Oh, they're a better team without LeBron.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. LB is LB.
Yes.
But this is what I've always said about players like LeBron. He's not in the game.
Yeah.
Everybody else is playing great basketball. When LeBron comes back, he is such a dominant player that everybody else defers to him. And now you lose the camaraderie of the rest of the guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, D'Angelo Russell just came back, and D'Lo is another guy who dominates the ball.
And I'm not even talking about just LB just dominating the ball. What I'm saying is that he's such a dominant presence. It's kind of like the last 2 years Kobe was in LA. The team wasn't as bad as they were perceived, but Kobe is so dominant that everybody was like, okay, this is Kobe's team. Kobe does what Kobe wants to do, rightfully so. He's the mama, But the other guys just defer so much to him, and Kobe wasn't that guy that could just get it done at the end of the day no more like that.
Right. No.
And I think LeBron is the same way. LeBron is going to be Herculean. He's going to do what LeBron does, but you lose everybody else. One man, as dominant as he can be, cannot just overshadow 4 guys that's playing well.
No doubt. And the Lakers have a much better roster right now with, Hachimura. Obviously, Vanderbilt's helped out here. I mean, they have really gotten some depth they haven't had all season long.
But let me say this, guy. If those guys can still keep their exact same game and implement LeBron in with that,
they're going to be dangerous.
Now you're talking about a basketball team that probably can make it.
And with AD, who's playing at an all-star level again, assuming they all
well, we're going to have hey, he's number 1.
No doubt.
I mean, definitely got to keep table butter in a uniform because he will go down quick.
Yeah. And here's the other thing with the Warriors. If Wiggins comes back, I mean, they've been missing him a lot and they haven't talked about that, but then you bring back the core that won it all last year.
He has been a big piece, a huge piece, because, he's one of those stabilizing factors to where you don't have to ride those big 2 because, honestly, on the offensive side, Draymond Green is the facilitator. He's not the guy that's going to – Draymond might not even give you 10 anymore. He might give you 8 points, but he's going to give you all the rebounds, all the defense, all the tangible things it takes for you to win a basketball game. But when you implement Wiggins in there, right, now you got your big 3, and now all you have to do is sprinkle some Poole in there now you can win basketball games.
Agreed. But the problem with the Warriors is their bench. It's just not nearly as good. And now with Kuminga out, who knows? He did a Kevin Durant warm-up ankle injury, so who knows where he's at. Gary Payton, they traded back for him. He's not ready to go. It's like, even if they get their big four back, which would be big, it's just, I don't think they have the depth.
Okay, let me ask you this. How long is Kuminga out?
Hasn't been determined yet.
Okay. He's a young dude.
Yep.
And really didn't twist it coming down, going that strong or whatever. Let's say he can come back within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Let's say you can get Gary Payton back. How long?
By playoffs,
how long?
possibly.
By playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say Wiggins comes back. That pushes Poole back to the bench.
Yep.
That changes their bench situation.
It does. And they're the Warriors, for Pete's sake.
Right. That changes the bench situation.
No doubt. I don't think you can count them out either. I don't. I just don't think I don't think even if they get back to as good as they can be this year, they would not be as good as they were last year, is all I'm trying to say. I don't know if they're deep enough, but you can't count out the Golden State Warriors. I would agree with that.
It's tough, Scott, but I don't think that everything that we just said is going to fall in line for Golden State. So that's why I say this is their last dance.
It feels like it for this year for sure. And the road record is just embarrassing. All right, let's go around the league. Let's check out what else is going on tonight. One final, the Clippers beat the Knicks. They've lost 3 straight. Brunson did not play in that game today after re-aggravating that ankle here in Sacramento. Kawhi went for 38. The Clippers are 36 and 33. They're another team that's interesting. They really haven't done a lot yet, but one thing that is happening, Kawhi Leonard is playing regularly now, and he is playing great.
That's what they need in order for them to make a splash. Scott, let me ask you this.
Yep.
This is the huge elephant in the NBA. They talk about it, but it really hasn't been talked about enough. The Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
Ja's gone. We don't know for how long.
Yep.
They're not playing big-time basketball.
Nope.
Steven Adams still isn't back.
Minimum 4 more weeks.
Right. Steven Adams still isn't back. How much are they going to be able to hold on?
Exactly. Brandon Clark's out for the year.
BC, a huge part.
Yep. They got a big one. They did beat the Warriors last time at home. I mean, again, the Warriors are terrible on the road, but that was a win. They've got the Mavs tonight at home. The Grizz are 27-5 at home, which is pretty amazing. But to your point, all the injuries. Now the Mavs tonight are going to be without Luka and most likely without Kyrie.
Catching them at the right time.
Yeah.
You talk about catch a team at a right time because Memphis is definitely going to have to hold on until they can figure out what they're going to do with those 2 players.
I agree. And I know people aren't going to buy this. Now, this year it hasn't proven true because they're under 500 when Morant's been out of the lineup. I think they're 5-7 now. Last year, though, they were incredible. They were like 20-2 at one point without draw. I still feel like the bigger loss is
Steven Adams
than John Morant because Tyus Jones is a great backup point guard.
Scooter, we get so enamored with guys who score the basketball, and we don't give enough credit to the anchor guys. The Steven Adamses of the world, the Sabonises of the world.
Yeah.
Those guys to where really your success depends on them. They don't get the shine that they deserve because they don't do the pretty job. They do the dirty work.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Steven Adams really, in the overall scheme of things, is a much bigger hurt for Memphis than Ja.
Yeah, and right now they're 8-11 without Steven Adams, so it proves how valuable he's been. Let's see, our games in progress right now. The Jazz are leading the Hornets. The Jazz are still in the play-in scenario. 58-49 that score, second quarter. Pacers leading the Pistons 69-57 in that game. Magic leading the Heat 58-55, talking about the Orlando factor because the Heat are playing good basketball and they've got a lot to play for right now. Orlando is leading them. Hawks and Celtics, Atlanta leading 40-39. That game's early second. Later on tonight, Bulls and Rockets, Thunders and Pelicans. And again, the Pelicans, to me, that's the team that's going to fall out of the play-in with Zion not coming back. They did not impress me Monday night at Golden One Center.
Wow, Scott. It's like, how hard can you fall from the graces of the basketball gods?
Yeah.
This team was in first place.
Yep.
And just now scratching the ceiling of their potential And that just goes to show how much, no matter what type of roster you have and how talented your guys are, it's all about, can your guys stay healthy?
Yeah. And Zion's averaging 28 games a year so far in his professional career.
Wow. I mean, just been injury prone, as dominant as he is. And, you know, and he really changes the game for a basketball team. I mean, really changes the game for New Orleans. But if you can't keep him on the floor, it's almost like the same thing with Anthony Davis. You know, Anthony Davis is such a freak, Scott. If Anthony Davis can play up to his potential,
he plays 75 games a year.
Man, he's the next best thing to slice bread.
Yeah.
But you can't depend on him to be on the floor because he gets injured all the time.
No doubt. All right. And the marquee ABC game tonight's Bucks and Warriors. Some would say the Kings and Suns is the marquee game, but the national TV game tonight is Bucks and Warriors. Again, no Giannis in that game for Milwaukee. Milwaukee is here on Monday night.
Can we do a stretch?
We can.
Can we do a stretch again? No, a flex.
I was going to say we can definitely stretch if you want.
Flex stretch.
But that's the thing. The Kings, you know, are being flexed. The Celtics game's now on NBA TV. Monday night's game, I'd have to look. I wouldn't be surprised if that game's on NBA TV as well. But it should be a lot of fun. And again, for fans, we want to see Giannis play on Monday night.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. Still trying to overcome that wrist injury he suffered right before the All-Star.
But for the overall scheme,
yeah, it's fine if he sits one more.
Yeah, sit him out.
Exactly. All right. When we come back, we'll focus in on Kings and Suns. We'll get you to the Who's on the Floor report as well. It's game night right here. Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty. We are clear.
All right. What do we got going on in the chat?
Well, it devolved into me talking about Chimezi Metu too much, but we've crossed that bridge a good amount already. Okay. So we can slide somewhere else here.
Are they talking about Jaybird?
About what?
Mr. Jason Ross, the one and only.
Oh, I didn't know who that was that slid behind me.
I understand.
For the Jason slid behind the camera there.
He got on camera for a second.
Okay, I didn't look up there.
That's all right.
So Milwaukee's interesting. Giannis is my favorite player, and he's incredible. And Milwaukee's been super interesting this year because even with Giannis in and out of the lineup, they still keep winning. And I mean, like you said, it would be nice to watch him play against Sacramento, but it would also be nice to watch him play against Boston in the second round of the playoffs this year, or the conference finals, like we're headed towards.
No doubt. And I think the one thing too, it's like, you know, Giannis, we talk about MVP candidates, and I mean, it's Jokic, Embiid, Jokic, but why not Giannis? He's having an incredible MVP type season. He's on the best team in the league, in my opinion, and he's been a 2-time defending MVP player, but we don't seem to be mentioning him very much.
I mean, I go back to that same thing. You know, the Joker is doing something just extraordinary out the box.
Yep.
So he has to be in the conversation. And then Embiid is the Shaquille O'Neal of this era. Okay. I mean, size and strength wise, nobody could do anything with him. I'll tell you what, if Giannis was in a Laker jersey, he would be MVP already.
Yeah. He'd have 4 of them, maybe.
Yes.
Well, I feel like we pretend like second place for MVP is like chump change. Like
because it is.
If you're not first,
yep.
No, James Harden finished top 2 in the MVP 4 times in 5 years. Everyone discredits his career. He's amazing. But
you don't discredit his career. But as far as being the MVP, it means nothing.
Oh yeah, but in that case, it's like, okay, it's Jokic, and we can walk away. Like I think the debate for second place in MVP is really interesting because you can make a statistical case for Embiid. You can make a statistical case for Giannis. But Jokic.
You cannot make the case for the second person who makes it. That's like saying, okay, well, we need a championship ring too for making it to the finals, but put second place up there.
Would you like a participation?
They get out a trophy for winning conference championships.
Yeah, and the Kings put up a Western Conference or a Pacific Division championship banner a couple of years.
Bro.
And who cares?
You know what though?
No one cares.
Hey, he is really showing himself as a millennial.
Yes.
A participation trophy is about as worth as a warm bucket.
I'm not saying a participation.
For next game night.
I'm not
for showing up.
If you're not a champion, you're just like everybody else.
Yep.
Sit down.
The analysis becomes diluted because, like, we were talking about the Nuggets earlier, and they said, like, oh, the Nuggets haven't had playoff success. They've won 4 playoff series in 4 years.
That's great. That's like saying, who was the second best golfer during the Tiger Woods era?
Means nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, there's such a rich conversation to be had about Giannis and Jokic, and even Luka gets in this conversation.
Who's going to talk about second place?
I don't know. It's just
you know what? All I know is on the headlines in the newspaper. I'm old school. On the headline in the newspaper is going to be the champions. The champions.
Yes.
Nothing about the guys who took second place.
I'd love to keep this going, but we got 5 seconds left.
All right. Wrapping things up on game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Hopefully you are driving safely out there in our capital city. We're getting you ready for the Kings and the Suns. 6 o'clock tip. G-Man with the call. Jason Ross here. He'll be with Henry coming up for Kings Live pregame at the bottom of the hour. It is time now for the Who's on the Floor report. It's brought to you by Gold River Floors. They're employee-owned. 3 locations to serve you: Sacramento Flooring off Power Inn Road in Sacramento, Gold River Carpet One off Highway 50 in Rancho Cordova, and Gold River Flooring America off East Bidwell in Folsom. For the Kings tonight, again, nobody on their injury report. It's been amazing how healthy they've been all season long.
That's great.
For the Suns, of course, Kevin Durant, the ankle, the latest is it will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. We'll see where it goes for the Phoenix Suns. Landry Shamet is also out with their foot. I like Landry.
I do too.
A lot too. He's a good player
I like him.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So that's tough not having Landry Shamet tonight. But they do, of course, have Devin Booker, who is playing some of his best basketball in his NBA career. Part of the win streak, the last 4, he's been averaging 38 points. In the 2 wins over Sacramento this year, he's averaged 38 points. He's pretty consistent. He's one of the best scorers in the league. And obviously the Kings have to find a way to keep him under control tonight.
No doubt, because this young man, Scott, he has all 31 flavors.
Yes.
He can give it to you any way you want. It's like Burger King. You can have it your way. This dude can score from outside. He's a very good mid-range shooter. He has a low post game. If he has a smaller guard, he has a bully game to him. He scores very well, very effective from the free throw line. And he can go up and he can take contact and finish above the rim. So when you talk about scoring a basketball, he does it all.
He can absolutely do everything. And it felt like in the first 3 games, I think in such a small sample size, but the one question would be, is there enough basketballs with Durant and Booker both together? It felt like that combination fit comfortably.
I think that'll work. I don't have a problem with that, because Durant has always been with other guys who needed the ball. You know, he was with Golden State. Mm-hmm. Who needed the ball more with Golden State? But who shares the ball more to Golden State? But still, he looked good wherever else he's been. I mean, when he was with Brooklyn and Kyrie and James Harden, the one true player who looked good was Kevin Durant.
Yeah, no, that's all true. He's always been a good team player, and I don't think there's ever been any knock on that with Kevin Durant. Inside, of course, you mentioned it earlier, but DeAndre Ayton is having a great season. The Suns weren't even sure if they were going to re-sign him at the end of last year. There was some drama and all that stuff, but they did. They matched an offer, kept him, and it's a good thing they have, because he's been playing very well.
You know, it's crazy how, you know, you get situations to where teams are talking about, well, we're not going to keep this guy. We're going to move this guy. We're going to trade this guy. And you know, he really showed them that they needed him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it's crazy how they talk about, well, we're not going to even give him an offer. That's nuts, Scott.
It is.
You know,
he was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Kind of the same thing when New York was talking about moving Emmanuel Quickley.
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Quickley has been a huge part of their success.
For sure.
And y'all were talking about trading this dude. So I guess at the end of the day, when you are a professional, you can't let none of the outside really get into your head. And it's hard not to do that, Scott. I've been in that locker room. When you have teams talking about they're trading you, they're not signing you, it does affect you mentally, and it affects how you feel about that organization.
No doubt. But Ayton's been a true professional, and obviously he has played well. And for the Kings tonight, it's another big man that they don't really have an answer for.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's that type of big man to where he can move a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't the big, you know, Rudy Gobert, Steven Adams type big man. He's 7 foot, but he could slide.
Yeah.
He can stay 1 or 2 dribbles to where he can definitely put a hand up at Sabonis at the free throw line, but still be just as adept at getting back and protecting the rim.
Yeah, no, he's definitely mobile, and he's a problem. And then, of course, there's Chris Paul, who is just still having a good year. He's had some injuries this year. He's fought through it, but he's healthy now. And obviously, he's one of the all-time great point guards. Where would you put CP3 in terms of the great all-time point guards? I mean, in terms of assists, he's going to finish number 2 in NBA history, unless he plays long enough to pass John Stockton in terms of overall assists.
Scooter, very high. Very, very
He has to be
high.
top 5 of all time, doesn't he?
Easy, because Chris Paul is the type of guy, we know he could score. He could take over a basketball game. But this is the epitome for me, because Magic Johnson showed me the way with this, is that Magic was so dominant at the point guard position, he made a regular guy in AC Green an all-star.
Yeah.
And
Kurt Rambis.
Yes, and Chris Paul has been equally as good. Chris Paul, I'm telling you right now, DeAndre Jordan should have a wing in his house for Chris Paul. Same thing with Tyson Chandler. Two guys who haven't even played for any other teams, but they played their best basketball under Chris Paul. The way he orchestrates a basketball game, the way how high his basketball IQ is, it really sets him off the charts when you start to talk about point guards who have played the game and has made other people better.
No doubt. And of course, speaking of point guards, we've got to talk about De'Aaron Frankie Cardicelli, who does a great job on our website, our digital covering the Kings. Good article today. Check it out at SactownSports.com. A little feature. De'Aaron Fox, looking at the numbers, De'Aaron, his season so far, 25.5 points, a little over 4 rebounds, 4.2, 6.3 assists, 1.2 steals. He's shooting 51% from the field. Fox is one of 3 players this season to average 25 plus points, 6 plus assists while shooting over 50%. The other 2, Luka and LeBron. We don't say last names for those 2, and maybe we're going to get to a point where we're just saying De'Aaron now.
D Fox, I really have to take my
hat off. You said his last name.
Huh?
You said his last name.
Okay, Mr. Six Man.
I'm just kidding.
Mr. Fourth Quarter. He has turned into everything that we had hoped for him.
Yes, he is. And then some.
And then some, Scott. Because when De'Aaron Fox first came here, we knew the special talents that he had. All we was worried about is he going to be able to implement those on the floor? Now he has turned into that guy to where everybody was just like, if De'Aaron just could do this, or if he could just pull this off, or if he just worked on a couple more of these, this dude, his biggest thing for me, Scott, was his free throw shooting.
Yes.
He's improved that.
Vastly improved.
Vastly.
Yeah.
So, man, he is definitely everything that we thought he was going to be and more.
And if he develops a consistent 3-point shot, oh my goodness.
Which is not bad this year.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
But if he ever got to a level where he was hitting that, say at a 35% clip, forget about it. All right. That's going to do it for game night. As always, Henry, great to work with you.
Yes, sir.
Have a great call tonight. The Kings trying to get their first win against the Suns here. Big game because they can open up a 3.5 game lead on Phoenix for the number 2 spot. And of course, force a big game on the 24th here in Sacramento. Coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross will be here for that. Tip tonight, 6 o'clock. G-Man with the call. Keep it tuned here all evening long. It's Sacramento Kings basketball right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty. Thanks, YouTube people. Again, I do despise championship culture. Hope you have a good night. Enjoy the Kings game, and we're going for 40 wins.